Here is my deck list for Roxrose Dragon deck during the 4th season. You can also check my previous video of my 3rd season Roxrose Dragon deck. First, I'll explain what each of the cards do. The first one is Spore. Normally you don't want to throw this unless you have Roxrose Dragon in your starting hand, since you can special summon Roxrose Dragon from your hand if you have a plant monster on your field. In this case it's Spore, of course. Because we're supposed to special summon it either using 1/1 as a level 1 tuner, using this one, 1/1 as a level 1 tuner, by also discarding one monster card from your hand, or special summon this from graveyard as a level 5 tuner by banishing Staysailor Romarin, since Romarin is the only plant monster here, other than Spore, of course. Because using the Spore effect, you can banish one plant monster from graveyard to special summon Spore and increase its level by the level of the banished monster, in which gives you a level 5 Spore, because Romarin is level 4 and Spore is level 1, and then you increase by 4, then it becomes a level 5 tuner. So the next one, probably I will explain about the Romarin. So the same thing with Spore. Normally you don't want to draw this unless you have Roxrose Dragon in your starting hand, but in certain condition where you can summon it on your field when you're done making your end board, then she might be useful for protection, since you can use her first effect to send a plant monster from the field to the graveyard, or just send this card, and then you can select one of your monster and it can be destroyed by battle or card effect destroyer. Because it's often that when you run out of disruptions, because you have used all of your negates, your opponent will just use probably Raigeki or Lightning Storm, and this card can at least save one of your monster from being destroyed. You can probably protect your Borreload Savage Dragon, since it's your precious monster and you want to actually maintain its Borreload counters. Well, if you're not familiar with Borreload counters, then I'll just explain it later. But mainly I use this card for her second effect, which is if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, we can send one level 5 or lower plant monster from deck or extra deck to the graveyard. So you can just send Spore to the graveyard by using this effect. And if you asked how you can send Romarin by card effect, then you probably have at least 3 methods. The first one is by using Roxrose Dragon, since if you synchro, so if this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, you can send one level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to the graveyard. So in this case, what you want to send is just send Staysailor Romarin, and then when this Romarin is sent to the graveyard, you can just activate its effect to send Spore as well. So that's the first method, and the second one is you can also send this card using Foolish Burial, since it simply can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. And then the third method is by actually using her first effect, because she can just send herself from the field to the graveyard. But I actually never used the third method to send Spore to the graveyard, since I even rarely use Romarin's first effect in the first place. So correct me if I'm wrong, but mostly the first and the second methods are what I commonly used. So the next monster is Deskbot 001. This is one of the most important cards in your main deck to be able to link summon Aurora Dawn using this card and Crystron Hulky Fibrax as its material, since Aurora Dawn actually needs 2+ machine monsters So the two machine monster will be Crystal Alchifibrex, since it's a Link 2 monster, and you can combine it with Deskbot 001 to create Absorouter. Back to Deskbot 001, normally you can special summon this from your hand or deck by using the effect of Crystal Alchifibrex when it's Link summoned. But if your Alchifibrex is getting edged or somehow negated, then you can special summon Deskbot 001 as well by using 141, for example, if you have it on your hand, since Deskbot 001 is a level 1 monster. So then I also have two Maxxes. I suppose we all know what it does. I only have two of them since I found it less freaky on my first turn by having just two of them. And then the next one is Lion, Mecha Phantom based Lion. This is a card where you mainly want to special summon from the deck by using Absorouter's effect. The second effect to special summon one Mecha Phantom based monster from your deck by tributing this card and one of the generated token, because Absorouter when it's Link summoned you can special summon 3 level 3 machine tokens. So that's yeah, you mainly special summon this from deck by using Absorouter's effect. So because of that, normally you don't want to draw this, and this is also why we have two here, two Lions here, to make sure you left at least one of it inside your deck, assuming you're not having the worst luck to draw two of them. But if you draw one of them, then you might actually be able to use the first effect. So during the middle of your combo, assuming you have special summon another Lion from deck and it's now in your graveyard, then you can banish the one in the graveyard, and then summon the other Lion from your hand to your field to another combo if possible. But mainly we need the second effect more, which is when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a level 3 token in addition. So using this and Absorouter, you can special summon up to like 4 level 3 machine tokens. So the next is Shelrokket Dragon. This is mainly just an extender of our combo to be able to summon Baron the Floor. This one is it's important but not essential, and it's very searchable by using Absorouter Dragon or Quick Launch. So you don't really need more than one of this because it's really searchable. And then the next is Ash Blossom, and yeah, I don't really need to explain this, just run this more than one because sadly we really need it. And then so we have 3 of the baby Rose Dragons here. We have Red Rose Dragons, Roxrose Dragon and White Rose Dragon. So here we have Red Rose Dragon and Roxrose Dragons are both level 3 tuner, and White Rose Dragon is level 4 non-tuner, and we're supposed to be able to Synchro summon the level 7 Black Rose Dragon with it, either using Red Rose and White Rose or Roxrose and White Rose. So the first one I'll explain probably Roxrose Dragon first. So basically when you summon this monster, either normal summon or special summon, then you can add a card that mentions Black Rose Dragon from your main deck. So in this case we can add a Red Rose Dragon, or usually I take Basal Rose Shoot instead, because we can use it in the same turn. We can add both of this because both of this actually mention Black Rose Dragon in the effect. and you cannot add White Rose Dragon since it is Rose Dragon, but it surprisingly doesn't mention any Black Rose Dragon in its effect. So for the Roxrose, it actually also has another effect that you may probably forgotten during your play. So when your Rose Dragon or Plant Synchro monster is destroyed by your opponent, either by battle or by card effect, then you can add this card back from your graveyard to your hand. But let's take a look at the first effect again. So by only using this one card, you'll be able to make the whole minimum end board. Because once you normal summon this card, you're gonna want to add Basal Roshut, and then link summon Striker Dragon, because it only needs one level 4 or lower dragon monster as the material, which is you can just use Roxrose Dragon to link summon this. Then by using Basal Roshut that you added by normal summoning Roxrose Dragon, you can just use it to special summon back your Roxrose Dragon from your graveyard to your field again. So once you have both Striker Dragon and Roxrose Dragon, then you can just probably create Crystron Hulky Firebrax with it, since it only needs 2 monsters and at least one of them should be a tuner, so you can just create Crystron Hulky Firebrax and do a further combo that we will cover about it later. And then the next baby rose is the White Rose Dragon. So it mainly has 3 effects. The first one is that if you normal summon this card, then you can special summon another Rose Dragon monster from either your hand or graveyard. I know it's very useful, but I think the only reason you want to normal summon this card is because you want to special summon another Rose Dragon from your graveyard and not from your hand. Because it also has the second effect. If you control a dragon or plant tuner, you can special summon this card from your hand. So you want to actually use this second effect to special summon this card rather than normal summoning it, because it would be harsh if you happen to normal summon this card and then your opponent negated the effect to special summon another Rose Dragon, and your other Rose Dragon card in your hand would be dead, since you cannot summon it onto your field. So you might be asking then, how is it different if the opponent negates White Rose Dragon from special summoning it from our hand? So the answer is that keep in mind that Rose Dragon also has an effect when it's summoned. If you normal summon Roxrose first, then you can activate its effect to add Basal Roshut to your hand. So if your opponent negates Roxrose effect, then you're still fine, since you can still special summon White Rose Dragon from your hand. And let's say if they don't negate Roxrose, but they negate the White Rose Dragons when you try to special summon it from your hand, then you're still also fine, since you can try to special summon it again using Basal Roshut, since they don't negate Roxrose. And so this is actually also why Roxrose is a good target to bait your opponent to use their Ash Blossom. So once you have both Roxrose and White Rose Dragon on your field, then you might want to link summon Striker Dragon by using a White Rose Dragon. Then you'll get Boot Sector Launcher, and then you can just link summon Hulky Firebrax using that Striker Dragon and Roxrose Dragon. But actually it depends on the situation. You might want to use those Roxrose and White Rose to make a further combo, to make Baron the Flora, for example. It might be hard to explain this, so I'll show you later on the real gameplay. For White Rose Dragon, it actually also has a third effect, in which I've mentioned earlier, that when it's used as a synchro material, you can just send Romarin to the graveyard, to then also send Spore to the graveyard. The next one is Roxrose Dragon. So this card actually have two effects. The first one is when it's used as a Synchro material, then you can special summon Rose Dragon, either either Roxrose or White Rose, since we only have both of two other than Red Rose Dragon, from your deck. So the ideal case would be to be able to normal summon this card, this Red Rose Dragon, and then special summon White Rose Dragon to Synchro summon Black Rose Dragon, and then by chaining the effect of Red Rose and White Rose resolved first, and then you can just send Romarin and Spore, and then you can resolving Red Rose Dragon, you can special summon Roxrose Dragon from your deck, and then by using Roxrose effect you can add Basal Rose from your deck. And then in your field, since you have Black Rose Dragon and Roxrose Dragon, you can just make Baron the floor, or probably Rudy Rose Dragon if you are on the middle of the game. But if you are just in your early board setup, then you can just Synchro summon Baron the floor. Yeah, so it depends on whether you're currently in early game or middle game. And since you have Basal Rose, you can special summon Roxrose back from your graveyard. Roxrose or Red Rose. And then special summon Spore from graveyard by banishing Staysailor Romarin. So then you can continue making Hulky Firebrax by using those both Spore and Roxrose Dragon, to make a further combo by using Hulky Firebrax. So it is also nice to have Baron the floor as early as possible, since it can protect your Hulky Firebrax for being disrupted, since it can also negate monster or spell or strat effect and destroy it. So it's very useful to have this on your early setup. For back to Red Rose Dragon again, so it actually also has a second effect, but it's basically unusable in this deck list since we don't run Frozen Rose or Blooming of the Dark Rose here, so let's just ignore it for now. And it's rather hard to explain why I run only one of this, even though it's very good, because I think it's pretty dependent to White Rose Dragon, while you don't always have White Rose in your starting hand, because it's only 3 of all the 40 cards. So because compared to Red Rose Dragon, let's say your starting hand ended up with 3 Roxrose Dragons with other 2 dead cards in your starting hand, and you'll still be able to make your end board, because the thing that I've explained earlier about the Roxrose normal summon and add Basal Rose, and then link summon Shelrokket Dragon, and you can use Basal Rose to bring back your Roxrose and create Hulky Firebrax, and then you can just making your further combo to make your end board. You can do that with Roxrose Dragon, but not with Red Rose Dragon. So that's it. And if you have 3 Roxrose, then you're still fine, but if you have 3 Red Rose Dragon on your starting hand and other 2 dead cards, then it's basically a break, and that's why I only run one of this. So the next one is Rokket Tracer. This is a pretty flexible card, so basically when you summon this on your field, then you can just special summon White Rose Dragon from your hand, since Rokket Tracer is a dragon tuner. You can also special summon Absorouter Dragon from your hand, since it's a rocket monster, because Absorouter Dragon's effect, if you control a rocket monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So other than normal summoning Rokket Tracer, there are also ways to special summon it, including using Quick Launch. You can just special summon Rokket Tracer from your deck, or by using Put Sector Launch, by using the first effect to special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names from your hand into this position. So by using this effect, you have to have your Rokket Tracer on your hand. You can also use Striker Dragon's effect to destroy a card and take this back and take a Rokket Tracer back from your graveyard to your hand. But you don't actually want to use Rokket Tracer's effect at all, even though it also have an effect. Because by using this effect, you'll not be able to special summon any monster from extra deck other than a dark monster. So you should ignore every time Rokket Tracer prompt you for his quick effect, because you not only don't need it, but you don't want to activate it. And then next one, Absorouter Dragon. So as I said before, you can special summon this card from your hand if you have Rokket Tracer, or either Rokket Tracer or Shelrokket Dragon, since Shelrokket Dragon is also a rocket monster. It also has another nice effect that when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one rocket monster. Usually you want to add Shelrokket by using Absorouter Dragon's effect, and special summon it, this card, by using Boot Sector Launch, since it can special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names, and we only have exactly 2 rocket monsters with different names, so you can special summon both of them using Boot Sector Launch effect. Also, if you for example, if you have like Rokket Tracer and Absorouter Dragon, for example, or Absorouter Dragon and another tuner, if you link summon Crystal Hulky Firebrax using Absorouter Dragon as one of its material, then you'll be able to chain block Hulky Firebrax effect with your Absorouter Dragon's effect. Since when you use Absorouter Dragon as the material of Hulky Firebrax, then it means you send this card to the graveyard and you can just activate its effect. So link summon Hulky Firebrax, activate its effect, and then Absorouter Dragon send to the graveyard and chain its effect, and then your opponent will not be able to use Ash to your Hulky Firebrax, because they'll probably forced to use their Ash to Absorouter Dragon. So yeah, it's very useful. And then the next one is Gameciel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. I also probably don't really need to explain this. It's just generally a good stable card to kick one of your opponent's monster. You can probably like kick Herald of the Ultimateness, Crooked Cook, and so on. And then the next one is Nibiru. So Nibiru is useful since you can just tribute all monster on the field to special summon this card when your opponent summon 5 or more monsters. So everyone probably know about this. So although it's kind of a dead card if your opponent's not really using a swarming deck that special summons so many monsters, and that's why I don't normally run Nibiru. It's rarely useful for me personally, but I need to add this to my deck so that I can use Crossout Designator to negate my opponents when they are using a Nibiru. So if you don't know about Crossout Designator, so it can declare one card name from your deck. You can then banish that card from your deck, and neither player can activate effect of that card. So basically when your opponent activate Nibiru, then I can just activate my Crossout Designator and banish my Nibiru, and then it will be negated. So that's why I run this mainly, not because I want to use this, but because I want to negate this. The next one is Harpie's Feather Duster. It destroys all of your opponent's spell traps. I think no further explanation needed. And then the next one is Monster Reborn. Special summon a monster from your graveyard, or from either graveyard, and no further explanation needed as well. So the next one is Foolish Burial. So you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. So mainly your target would be probably Staysailor Romarin to also send Spore, as I said before, and you can also send Absorouter Dragon to add either Rokket Tracer if you don't have any of them in your hand, and probably also Shelrokket Dragon to be able to special summon it using a Root Sector launch. And probably the other option, if you have like a White Rose Dragon on your hand, then you maybe want to like send Red Rose Dragon or Roxrose Dragon, and then you can just normal summon it and special summon either this Red Rose Dragon or Roxrose Dragon. So it depends on the situation, but mainly the ideal one would be to send just Staysailor Romarin to the graveyard using Foolish Burial. And then the next one is 1-for-1. I think I have explained this earlier, I guess. It can special summon Spore or Deskbot 001 by discarding one monster, since it can special summon one level 1 monster, so it's either Spore or Deskbot 001. And then the next is Black Garden. So this card is a rather tricky card to use. Basically, any summoned face-up monster's attack will be halved, if a monster is normal or special summoned face-up. So, and then after it halves their attack, it can special summon a Rose token to the opposing player's field, and then you can destroy this card by destroying all of the other plant monsters and special summon a card from your graveyard with attack equals to the total of the destroyed plant monsters. So if you don't have a monster with the matching attack points in your graveyard, then you can destroy this card. Sometimes, even if you can manage to predict what to do with your Rose tokens, this card is still useful to stay in your end board, since it could have your opponent's monster attack, and it's simply enough to annoy your opponents because they will do like their combo to just pop this Black Garden card. And the next is Root Sector Launch. Using this field spell, you can special summon 2 different Rokket monsters from your hand. So this card is usually also used as the target field spell to be destroyed by Garden Rose Flora, because Garden Rose Flora can destroy one field spell to generate 1 Rose token on your field to make a further combo. So yeah, you can add Root Sector Launch mainly by link summoning Striker Dragon, since if this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Root Sector Launch from your deck to your hand. And the next one is Quick Launch. So it's also a very good card. Using this card, you can special summon 1 Rokket monster from your deck. It's usually to special summon Rokket Tracer, or if you have this on your field already, and you can just use it to special summon Shelrokket Dragon. So what's best about this card is that it's not once per turn. So basically, let's say if you have 3 of these cards in your starting hand, then you can still use all of them, like use the first one to special summon Rokket Tracer and use the second one to Shelrokket Dragon. And you can also bait your opponent into using Ash with this card, because if one of them is negated, then you can just use the other one. So that's why this is really a good card, and you want to run all 3 of them in your deck. And then the next one is Called by the Grave. You need 2 of them to protect yourself from traps, since you can banish your opponent's monster from their graveyard, and then its effect will be negated. And then you also need 2 Crossout Designators, also to protect yourself from hand traps. So mainly by using Called by the Grave, you can only negate a monster effect that is discarded to the graveyard, but if not, like probably Nibiru or Impermanence, then you cannot use Called by the Grave actually. But you can still negate them using Crossout Designator. So I think this one is probably a better option, since you can also negate Nibiru and Impermanence by banishing them from your deck. So that's why. And then next we also have 2 Basal Rokket. So by using this card you can special summon Roxrose Dragon from your hand or graveyard. So this includes not only 2 special summon baby Rose Dragons, but also like if you have Black Rose Dragon or Red Rose Dragon or Crossrose Dragon in your graveyard, then you can also special summon them from the graveyard using Basal Rokket. Also keep in mind that you can also kind of use it twice using its second effect, so it's also have the second effect. So if this set card is destroyed, so let's say you place it on your spell trap zone, you can just set it. If this set card is destroyed, you can target a card that mentions Black Rose Dragon that is banished or in the graveyard, then you can special summon it. So you may be asking that how to destroy this card, and you can just self-destroy it using your Black Rose Dragon or Red Rose Dragon. Just imagine a case where you set this card before you synchro summoning Red Rose Dragon, and then of course Red Rose Dragon will destroy all other cards, and this card will also be destroyed, and then you can special summon your banished Black Rose Dragon here, so you have both Red Rose Dragon and Black Rose Dragon on your field. So that's it. You basically can use this twice using the different method, because you can only use each effect of Basal Rokket once per turn. So use each effect, not only one of each effect. Then next is Impermanence. So probably I don't really need to explain this further. So when you have no cards on your field, you can activate this card from your hand to negate one of your opponent's monster effect. What's good with this card is that it can be negated by Called by the Grave, since it's not a monster and it's not in the graveyard. This is also the reason why I run this, so that I can negate my opponent's Impermanence by using Crossout Designator, because it's very annoying when my opponent uses infinite Impermanence, because I cannot just negate it using Called by the Grave, but I need Crossout Designator. So for the extra deck, the first one is Martial Metal Marcher. This is a level 3 Synchro tuner. I usually use this as a material to create Crystal Wing, this one. And your Crystal Wing will be a tuner due to Metal Archer's effect. A Synchro monster that uses this card as a material is treated as a tuner while face up on the field, so usually I use this. And Garden Rose Maiden to Synchro summon Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon will be a tuner. And if you have Shelrokket Dragon, you can just Synchro summon Baron the Flora using Crystal Wing and Shelrokket Dragon, which then you can use the effect of Garden Rose Maiden, because if this card is in your graveyard, then you can just banish this from your graveyard, and then you can special summon one Rose Dragon or one Dragon Synchro monster in your graveyard, which is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So you can get your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon back from your graveyard to the field by using this Martial Metal Marcher and Garden Rose Maiden. And so the second one is Herald of the Arclight. So this card, along with Borreload Dragon, is usually at least the minimum end board using the Halkify Rex and Aurora Dawn combo, if you don't have any more cards to extend your combo. So it's actually the least used extra deck card in this deck. You can synchro summon this usually by using a Deskbot 001 and one level 3 machine token that is generated by the old lion when it leaves the field. What's very useful about this card is so it can negate a monster or spell or trap and destroy it. And also what's good about this card is any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. So let's say you have this. Let's say your opponent is using like something like Tri-Brigade deck, they will not be able to use their effects since they need to discard their monster to the graveyard, but they cannot because any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. That's why it's useful. And the third one is Garden-Rose Maiden. So when this card is special summoned, you can add Black Garden from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And we can then use this card as Synchro material for Crystal Wing, since Crystal Wing need a Synchro monster as the non-tuner. And you can also use Garden-Rose Maiden to probably Synchro summoning Baron the Floor along with Garden-Rose Flora, because Garden-Rose Flora is also level 5 and it's a tuner, and Garden-Rose Maiden is a non-tuner, so you can combine them to create Baron on the Floor. But I rarely use both of these to Synchro summon Baron on the Floor though. And the next one is Garden-Rose Flora. It's a level 5 Synchro tuner, and as I said before, you can destroy one field spell and special summon one level 2 Rose token. So it depends, if you destroy your opponent's field spell, then you have to special summon one Rose token to their field, but if you destroy your own field spell, then you can special summon one Rose token to your field. So Boots Sector Loop is usually the field spell target, so you can just use it's almost guaranteed that you will have this Boot Sector on, since you link summon Shelrokket Dragon earlier. So you have this, and then you destroy it using Garden-Rose Flora to generate one Rose token. And so she also has a quick effect to be able to Synchro summon during your opponent's main phase. So you can probably Synchro summon Roxrose Dragon to nuke your opponent's field during their turn, or probably Synchro summon Roxrose Moonlight. This one and this one, Roxrose Moonlight, to return a special summoned monster to their hand, or even Synchro summon Roxrose Dragon to clear both graveyards and fields. So it really depends on the situation, although it's rarely used. I rarely use Garden-Rose Flora to actually Synchro summon during the opponent's turn. But you can check on my previous videos on how to utilize all of these Rose Dragon Synchro cards during the middle game. So the next one is, I already explained about Black Dragon, but one of the effects is once per turn you can banish one plant monster from your graveyard, then target one defense position monster your opponent controls, change the target to face up attack position, and if you do, its attack becomes 0 until the end of this turn. But actually, in this deck at least, the second effect might not be very usable, since you will likely to banish Staysailor Romarin, and probably you can banish Spore though if you already done using it. Oh yeah. So I take back my word. So yeah, you can probably just banish Spore to use the effect. Roxrose Moonlight Dragon is it's useful against certain decks, because if this card is special summon or a level 5 or higher monster is special summon to your opponent's field, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls and return the target to the hand. So it might be not usable if your opponent using cards like Exceed monsters or Link monsters, since they don't have a level. Usually I use this to take back my Gameciel. So let's say my opponent has a monster, so I just kick it off using my Gameciel, and then I just Synchro summon Roxrose Moonlight Dragon to take back my Gameciel to my hand. So it's a Gameciel and Roxrose Moonlight Dragon loop here. And the next one is Crystal Wing. It can negate a monster effect and destroy it, and even more, its attack point is added to this card. And if this card attacks a level 5 or higher monster, it gains its attack as well. So the damage basically would be like a direct attack. Please also note that level 5 monster means that it doesn't include exist monsters since they don't have a level. And the next one is Borreload Dragon. It can negate a monster effect or spell or trap once per turn by removing a barrel counters. So the barrel counters depends on the link rating of the equipped link monster when this card is synchro summoned. So yeah, if this card is synchro summoned, you can equip one link monster from your graveyard to this card. Please note that border counters will remain even if the equipped link monster is destroyed. So don't be afraid if your opponent uses Harpie's Feather Duster to this card, because you'll only lose the gained attack points, but your negate ammunition will remains. Yeah, so that's for the Borreload. The next one is Shen. This card don't really have a disruption, but it's a very annoying card for your opponent because any card sent from the field to the graveyard is banished instead. But I mainly use this card to like looping my Rose Maiden and Crystal Wing, since when your monster declares an attack, you can return one banished monster to the owner's graveyard. So let's say I used my Rose Maiden to banish it from my graveyard, and then I use it to special summon back my Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon from my graveyard to the field, and then by using Shen's effect I can return my Rose Maiden back to the graveyard. And then when my Crystal Wing is destroyed, then I can just use my Rose Maiden again to banish it, and then special summon my Crystal Wing from my graveyard to the field. And so yeah, it's basically I use this basically just to loop my Rose Maiden and Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. That's why it's very useful. And then the next one is probably Roxrose Dragon. I actually have explained a bit about the effect. So if this card is synchro summoned, you can banish all the cards from the graveyards. Then if this card was synchro summoned using Roxrose Dragon or a plant synchro monster as some ethereal, you can destroy all other cards on the field. So I mainly use this for the first effect because I don't really find the second effect useful. So the second effect is when your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card, you can tribute this card, negate the activation, then you can special summon one Roxrose Dragon from your extra deck or graveyard. So this card is, I think, very useful for the during the middle game and not for the early board setup. So I don't recommend you to synchro summon this for your early board setup. Just use this during the middle game to actually banish all the graveyard resources to end the game quickly. That's how I love to. That's how I love to use Roxrose Dragon. The next one is Spore on the floor. So yeah, this card is very good. Basically, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. It's once per turn, though it's not quick effect, but it's very useful. And the quick effect is when your opponent activated. Sorry, not only your opponent, but when a card or effect is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. But the thing is, you can only use the quick effect only once while this card is face up. Basically, if you have used this turn, then you cannot use this on your next turn. But you may want to also use the third effect. So once per turn, during the standby phase, you can target one level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon that monster. So probably you can just return this. So when you have used your negate, then you cannot then you cannot use the effect anymore. Then you can just return this to your extra deck and replace it with another level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard, and then you can just synchro summon it again in the next turn. The next one is Striker Dragon. I think I've explained it a lot, and one thing I probably haven't explained to you is the second effect. So you can target one face-up monster you control and one rocket monster in your graveyard, destroy that monster on the field. So you can probably like if you have like Rokket Tracer on your field and Absorouter Dragon as well, you can just link summon Striker Dragon using Rokket Tracer, and then you can destroy Absorouter Dragon by using Striker Dragon's effect to take back your Rokket Tracer from your graveyard to your hand, and then activate Absorouter Dragon since it is sent to the graveyard to add Shelrokket Dragon from your deck to your hand. Then just use both Sector Launch to special summon both Rokket Tracer and Shelrokket Dragon. And the next one is Crystron Harpie. So this card is like one of the most important cards from the extra deck. Basically, using only this one card, you can ended up having your minimum end board. So all you need to do is by having two monsters including a tuner. So what you want to do is by link summoning Crystron Harpie, then you want to special summon Deskbot 001 to the field, and then by using Deskbot 001 and Crystron Harpie, you can link summon Aurora Dawn. So and then by using Aurora Dawn, when it is link summoned, you can activate this effect to special summon 3 machine tokens. It's level 3 tokens, so you can summon like 3 of them, and since 3 machine monsters are special summoned simultaneously, you can then activate Deskbot 001's effect from the graveyard, which is if 2 or more massive monsters are special summoned at the same time while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. So it's really hard to explain what will happen after that. I will probably explain this through the actual gameplay. So that's what Crystron Harpie is able to do just by using this one card. And it actually also has the second effect. So let's say when probably they ashed or they negated your Crystron Harpie, and you can just during the opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can banish this card you control to special summon one tuner synchro monster from your extra deck. So by using this effect, you can probably just banish this and then special summon Rose Flora. So let's say if you have like Black Garden in your hand, then you can just activate it, and then when your opponent summons something, then you will have one rose token in your field, and then by using Rose Flora's effect, you can synchro summon during your opponent's turn to probably like synchro summon Blackrose's Dragon, to nuke the whole field, or just use Blackrose's Moonlight Dragon to return one of their special summoned monsters. And yeah, that's what Crystron Harpie is able to do, but mainly you actually want to use this card for his first effect. And then you also have Crossroads Dragon. This card is kind of a savior during your middle game, since it's pretty easy to summon this. You only need 2 monsters with different types, and then if you have let's say if you have plant monsters, like when probably your opponent give you a rose token by using this black card, then you can just tribute it using Crossroads Dragon's effect to then special summon a rose synchro monster or one plant synchro monster from your extra deck. You can just probably synchro summon a Black Rose Dragon or Rudy Rose Dragon just by using this Crossroads Dragon. I think that's all for the whole deck. I will explain the detail about the combo using the real footage of the gameplay. So let's get started. So here's our starting hand. We can first probably just normal summon Roxrose Dragon, and then add Basal from the deck, and then special summon White Rose Dragon from your hand because you have Roxrose Dragon on your field. And then Synchro summon Black Rose Dragon, and then activate White Rose Dragon's effect to send Staysailor Romarin to the graveyard and send Spore to the graveyard. And then special summon Roxrose Dragon using Basal Roshut, and then Link summon Shelrokket Dragon to add one Foot Sector Launch from your deck, and then banish Staysailor Romarin to special summon Spore, and then using Spore and Shelrokket Dragon, Link summon Crystal Harpie Fibrax, and then activate its effect to special summon Deskbot 001 from your deck to create Aurora Dawn, and then activate its effect to special summon 3 machine tokens, 3 level 3 machine tokens, and then trigger the effect of Deskbot to special summon from graveyard, and then activate Aurora to special summon O-Lion, and then use O-Lion and one of the token to synchro summon Flora. And then by using the effect of O-Lion, you can special summon one token, and then Flora destroy the field to special summon one rose token, and then use it with Deskbot to create this Metal Marcher to special summon O-Lion from the graveyard, and then just synchro summon Rose Maiden to add Black Garden from your deck to your hand, and then just synchro summon Metal Marcher and Rose Maiden to create Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and then Rose Flora and one token, use it to synchro summon Borreload Savage Dragon, and then use the effect of Rose Maiden to special summon Roxrose Dragon from the graveyard to create Baron the floor. Then you have an extra Black Garden just activated to annoy your opponent from here. So you can have one Omni Negate, and also one Omni Negate and destroy, and also one monster negate and destroy. So here you have a quick launch, and then you can just use it to special summon one Rokket Tracer, and then special summon Absorouter Dragon from your hand to create Shelrokket Dragon by using Rokket Tracer. Then add Foot Sector Launch, and by using Shelrokket Dragon's effect, you can just destroy Absorouter Dragon to add Rokket Tracer back to your hand, and activate Absorouter Dragon's effect to add Shelrokket Dragon, and then activate Foot Sector Launch to special summon Rokket Tracer and Shelrokket, and then link summon Crystal Harpie Fibrax using Shelrokket Dragon and Rokket Tracer to link summon Crystal Harpie Fibrax and activate its effect. And it's pretty much the same for the rest. You create Aurora Dawn and special summon 3 tokens, and then trigger the effect of Deskbot 001 to special summon it from graveyard, and then activate Aurora effect to special summon O-Lion to create Flora, and then activate the effect of O-Lion to create one more token, and then Flora destroy the field to special summon one rose token, and then special summon synchro summon Metal Marcher to activate its effect and resurrect the O-Lion from your graveyard. Then Synchro summon Roxrose Maiden to activate its effect and add 1 black card in. Then Synchro summon Shelrokket Dragon, and it's now a tuner. And then you can use Crystal and Shelrokket to create power on the floor. And then using Roxrose Maiden's effect, you can special summon Crystal Wing back from your graveyard to your field. And then using Roxrose Flora and 1 machine token, you can Synchro summon Borreload Dragon, equipped with Aurora Dawn to have 3 Borreload counters. And then you can summon White Rose Dragon to generate 1 Rose token and then destroy the Black Garden to resurrect Flora, Rose Flora to then Synchro summon Shan. Activate White Rose Dragon's effect to send Staysailor Romarin and then send Spore. That's pretty much I think this is one of the ideal end board for this deck. So as you can see here, we have Roxrose Maiden banished, so actually using Shen, you can, when you declare an attack, then you can return your Roxrose Maiden back to your graveyard. So in this match, we're actually going second, and our opponent used Phantom Knight. So now it's our turn, then you can just get rid of it by using Gameciel and then special summon by using quick launch. Yeah, it's actually the match where I take the Maxx challenge. So by having Rokket Tracer, you can special summon Absorouter Dragon, and then by using Rokket Tracer, we can link summon Striker Dragon to add both sector launch from deck to our hand, and then normal summon Roxrose Dragon, add Basal, and then now you can just Synchro summon Bar on the floor earlier. Yeah, you know, it's very fortunate to be able to like Synchro summon Bar on the floor earlier, because this way you can have extra protection from your opponent's hand trap. So basically, when they they use Ash or Nibiru or something, you can just negate it using Power on the Floor. So, yeah, it's generally very good to have Power on the Floor earlier on your board. So using both sector launch, we can special summon Rokket Tracer and then create Harpie Firebreaks with it. And from now on, it's pretty much the same again. Then you can notice it's not only to negate an effect, but you can also use its effect to target one card on the field and destroy it. So I was intended to destroy this Phantom Knight Shade Rekindling. And then yeah, the rest is pretty much the same actually. You can just fast forward it. So you activate this trap to make the Gameciel actually not destroyable, but that is actually fine. So it's back. So as you can see here, he tried to ash my Aurora Dawn, but unfortunately for him that I have Burn on the Floor, so I can just negate the ash, and then I can just special summon Lion from my deck. Even now I have Also Crystalline Synchro Dragon, if they happen to have any more hand trap, then I can just use my Crystalline to negate the hand trap monster. Now I even have Borreload Dragon with even more protection. So as you can see here, I actually want to use my Black Garden to just generate more like rogue tokens, so that I can deal more damage, since if I attack this one I will deal less damage, and if I attack this one I will deal no damage because it's in the banned position. So I just intend to create more tokens to be the attack target. So here he activates Nibiru, but unfortunately I have Crystal Wing, so yeah, due to its effect it's probably free attack gains for me instead. So yeah, I should thank for him. So yeah, as you can see here, when I have all lion in my graveyard and I have also all lion in my hand, I can just banish one of my all lion from my graveyard to have an extra normal summon to summon this all lion from my hand. It also doesn't mean anything, it's just to generate a rose token to be attacked. Yeah. Basically I use all the adjustments, but I can luckily I can just recover. I'm not really know. I cannot do anything, but yeah, I thought I can. Actually, I happen to get rid of his trap at least. Yeah, I think he is stun deck. Yeah, so that is the great thing about Shelrokket Fireworks is basically it's just any two monsters as long as one of them includes a tuner. So basically I can just randomly like using both of this, like Rokket Tracer and Lion, but unfortunately due to this card effect, all my cards that supposed to send to the graveyard is banished instead. So yeah, I remember now. Here is an example of how we supposed to beat a deck where we cannot reuse our cards from the graveyard. Yeah, so unfortunately I cannot even use my Deskbot anymore because it's not in my graveyard, but it's banished instead. But luckily we can still at least special summon Lion here, so you can also still special summon Gardenrose Flora to create Burrow on the floor. Yeah, this is how I recover from an opponent that uses kind of a float kit deck. And we are going second again here. Yeah. Always against this kind of deck again. So any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So yeah, you can just create Archive Rex unexpectedly by using Maxx and Rokket Tracer. And also, unfortunately, all my cards are going to the graveyard. Also, sorry, are banished instead. But let's see how we can recover from all of this. It's pretty much the same combo as the our previous match. Yeah, we just Synchro summoned Burrow on the floor. I actually don't mind that he have Macrocosmos here. I just left it here. Sometimes it feels just it feels crazy just to think that we can actually win just by using only this one card, using just Burrow on the floor, because it seems impossible at first. But since their deck is not really that strong, actually they just use some kind of floodgate to banish anything, but they actually don't really have strong cards. And I think this is the case when I can use actually Ascension to loop my Crystal Wing and Gardenrose Maiden. So here I go first. Just normal summon Roxrose, and he took the bait. Now I can peacefully special summon Rokket Tracer, and what's best is actually I can peacefully blink summoning Harpie 5 Rex as well, because you already used his Ash. Just fast forward it. It's actually pretty much the same. Yeah, it only ended up with Crystal Wing and Borreload Dragon, because unfortunately we don't have Shelrokket Dragon to extend our combo into Burrow on the floor, but it is fine. Yeah, it's crazy how he He has two of them in their starting hand. But luckily I have Nibiru and Deskbot 001 in my graveyard, so I can have an extra protection. And since he activated my Black Garden, it means they have special summon 5 times that I can just use my Nibiru. So this is where I can actually bring back my Crystal Wing. Yeah, first I need to get rid of my Black Garden first, so that my Crystal Wing's attack is not half. Yeah, and then as you can see, I can use my Garden Rose Flora's effect to destroy a field spell. But since the field spell is on my opponent's field, then I have to special summon a Rose token to their field instead of my field. Garden Rose, Maiden and Crystal Wing. So here I'll show you also a case where you can also actually use Absorouter Dragon to chain block your Crystal Archifact from being ashed. So as we can see here, we already have both Sexual Launch, and we can special summon Rokket Tracer, and then we can just link summon Crystal Archifact using Absorouter Dragon, and Absorouter Dragon activates effect. So yeah, if your opponent has Ash, then they will have no option other than to negate the Absorouter Dragon instead of the Archifact. Because Archifact is pretty important, so you normally don't want your Archifact to be negated. So the rest is pretty much the same actually. So yeah, I think that's all. You can probably find your way of playing. You can probably find your preferred combo by actually playing it. So thank you for watching.